love the slow jazz. Welcome to Last Call, everyone. Joined by Chris, Mike, Hartley, and Maggie, here to discuss episode 18. Our podcast can now legally vote.
Oh my god!
Oh,
At this
very
point,
nice.
we are releasing in November.
Oh, maybe we shouldn't say the name of the month right now.
Well, because we could just change.
Because
it
who
up.
knows? Who knows? At this point, we're releasing whenever you're listening to it.
Okay.
That was my. I don't know what that was. Welcome to the Last Call.
Yeah, that was a lot of talking that episode.
That was a great episode. We are in Clanken's base.
Yeah, it's your first introduction to this major city. And you guys didn't even get through all of it. You only got about halfway through all the rings, almost. Yeah.
Not even 6. We
yeah,
got
like
through
yeah.
2 of 8.
3
a
rings.
quarter.
Yeah. 7. I think 6 was the farthest
7,
you got
8?
into
Oh,
Mix's
right.
neighborhood. First thoughts of the city so far?
Really cool. Huge.
Same as I remember it, but it's it's
Dillon-
really fun. I do like city
I
environment.
think it's funny too how like Minx is very used to the city, whereas like you two as characters immediately got into like shenanigans like with the potion purchasing.
We
And,
definitely got like that was
Ripped off?
That was tourist prices, wasn't it?
well, here's the
Well,
thing.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Little peek behind the screen. With D&D, I think the normal price for a potion of healing is around 50 gold. So you actually were
so
getting
you got a good deal.
Yeah.
You guys were getting a discount because the way I was thinking about it is because there's a whole ring of the city that's just focused on markets. There's a bunch of potion places throughout.
Yeah.
So obviously,
Yeah.
like they're gonna price down their items. But again, they're not gonna give you like 20 gold per potion or anything like that.
No, but we also that was the good thing is that we got 10 for 300, so that's 30.
So you guys
Yeah.
got a deal.
That's a good deal.
You did spend
Yeah.
90% of the gold you still have left,
Yeah.
or close to.
We saved 200 gold on that purchase.
I think Clue is a
Okay.
guy who goes into every purchase thinking that he can afford anything in the world.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that
so-
sounds right.
And I always tend to just whatever number pops into my head, I say that, and then I just that is the amount that I'm going to buy.
That was so funny that you literally did not have the gold for it.
No.
And you're like, wait, I
Lost.
don't have the gold for it. That broke your character today.
Yeah. That's the first time in years.
It's funny too because a lot of times in like D&D campaigns where it's like after a certain point, like you guys are comfortable enough financially where like money's not that much of an issue, like unless you're buying a lot of stuff. But from the beginning of this podcast, like you guys spend a lot of money to lose a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, that's
Listen,
how it goes.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but we got a little more insight into like Minx's home and like the whole dynamic of that as well,
Yo.
which is
A lot of my shit came up this episode.
Dillon felt
Yeah.
awkward.
you know what? It's so
Oh no! It was amazing for the episode. I just imagine Clue and Dillon in the living room, just like sitting on the couch, just like
Yeah.
it's like being invited over to a friend's house and all of a
think-
sudden they get into an argument with their
Yeah,
parents. It's like
everybody's
exactly what
been
it
in
was.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And you
been
know
in that
what's so
situation.
funny, Maggie, is that like we talked a lot about like what your dynamic with your parents are like,
Yeah.
but I had no intention of like starting an argument in this session. Like I was just we were taking it away naturally,
Yeah.
and it just naturally happened, and that's what made it feel so
Oh, yeah.
awkward and like frustrating. Like
Yeah.
it was great.
Because at first I was like, oh, they're being really nice. This is great. Like it reminded me so much of just like, bringing friends over and then you end up fighting in front of them but it's like, no, everything's fine. We are fine. But there is just so much tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long do satyrs live?
I think they're close to like human,
I think so.
And
Yeah.
how old is Minx?
like 20s. I want to
I
say.
have this written down. I think it's late 20s or like early 30s. Where's
Okay.
me? 33 is what I wrote.
Yeah, that's the appropriate age for when your parents call out something that you distinctly have an argument, like a running argument on.
Yeah, I
You're
feel-
not afraid to.
There's
go
a
like,
war coming, Mom. No, it's fine. If you
Yeah.
haven't said it on the TV, it's not happening.
That essentially was the equivalent.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Yeah.
if Meldar thinks we're going to be safe, there's no reason to tell us. I mean,
God,
And I
it's
think
so
it's-
frustrating.
I hate
Yeah,
that.
of
It
course.
definitely stemmed from like teenage angst, but just
Yeah.
kind of like molded Minx.
Yeah.
and especially getting into the whole argument, which I'm sure you've had over and over again about sources of magic and using
yeah.
magic. Like that definitely seemed like it came up like a little
Yeah.
more quickly than it
Yeah.
would have if it hadn't happened before.
Well, it's just like it's what's packed into fucking shit in my room. Like it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like it's not the first time, but it's
So you established did Maggie, when you were making like your backstory with Minx,
Yeah.
like was that tension sort of part of that, when you started, like your tension with your parents, your relationship with your parents?
Yes.
Okay,
Mainly
nice.
because of their job.
Right. Right.
But it's because
Right, 'cause
Minx has been around it.
We
That's
kind of
all.
went. It's not like we glazed over it, but your parents mine meridium.
They're
Sorry, I
part of
didn't
the
be
whole.
closer. Be closer.
They're part of the whole process of mining. So they're not like in the mines, like
Yeah, yeah,
extracting it, but like process and
The
development.
refineries.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
they are like overseeing. Okay, how many workers do we have today to go in and stuff like that?
Project
like
managing.
They're project managers.
Yeah, they don't get their hands dirty, but like they are still part of the process.
You know what? I didn't think we'd get into project management as a
career in
as
D&D.
a career in D&D by episode 18.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Well, she had your mom had like prints and like
Something, yeah.
blueprints and like papers from like work. Like I just saw like that was so lovely, like coming home and like clearing the table
Damn.
from the work, being like, come
Yeah,
on
she
in.
always has
I
a
regret
writing
not
utensil.
asking her if timelines were tight.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, what's the work?
How's
like?
this fiscal looking in
Yeah,
Dragon's
stressed
Days?
her out.
I
Yeah.
definitely.
Have you guys had to reduce scope?
So you don't bring up work with your
workers are
parents.
But she did mention there was some conflicts at work. How
Yeah.
like there were more workers going missing than
Yeah.
usual.
Did she mention that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she mentioned that.
Yeah.
Clue
Workers
didn't
missing,
clock it.
dragons in the mines.
Yeah, like more workers than normal because you get the occasional worker going missing, and also the temperatures seem to be increasing inside the mountain. So quite strange.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of blazed over or glazed over, I guess. But
No, we blazed
Does
over it.
Hallows? When does Hallows Day happen again? Is it every? Sorry, I know it's coming up in 2 days, but is it a yearly thing?
I think it's
Yeah,
yearly.
it's
It's
yearly.
a yearly event. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Sorry,
It's a festival that we're not going to be around for.
unfortunately not.
But you know, we just came from we're all festivaled out.
Yes, but Maggie, your fight with your parents very moving. It was really, really good, and it was really fun to like be the awkward fly on the wall during that whole thing going down.
it's funny too because the way our recording setup is like me and Maggie are across the
Yeah.
table from
Yeah,
each other,
yeah.
and Hartley and Mike are in the middle. So
we
we just
just,
felt
like-
like we were arguing through you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
looking at each other, being like,
Yeah.
very cool. I mean, it was definitely not in the cards just based off of like how we left, but like I feel like Dillon really wanted to talk to them about the Fae and just sort of like
Yeah.
figure out like where they were from and you know what parts of the Fae, things to expect. I think that's the biggest thing. I think
Yeah.
that's what like, Dillon is like trying to sort of find in Clang in the Space, because there's so many people potentially from the Fae now because we're so close to, I guess, the
And Layla didn't give you the time of
she
day.
did not give me the time
She
of
did
day.
not.
Time of day. She was so cool. Dillon, I think Dillon really found her very, very cool, which is why he like slucked his hair back and like
Yeah,
tried
yeah,
to be
yeah.
all cool boy.
Yeah,
I
we-
really like the Illin persona.
That was fun.
Dylan's
Dylan?
coming back.
Between this and Cadmus, I'm like, you just want to date somebody that like drives a motorcycle. Like
Yeah,
that
I
is like,
I think I want the baddest of the boys.
You
Yeah.
are a teenager.
He's a
You're in
teenager.
your rebellious
Yeah.
phase.
I want the baddest of the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Layla, we ran into a couple new NPCs.
Yeah.
Beryl,
Beryl.
the
Oh, yeah, that was
assistant
great.
to Broken Knuckles.
Chris's voices are just
Oh
so
my god,
good.
yeah.
Oh.
Amazing.
fucking
Irish.
so good.
Something.
A little bit of an Irish.
Dwarvish. We're not
Dwarvish.
going to say it's a specific dialect or anything. 'Cause
Dwarvish.
I can't do a specific dialect.
that scared the shit out of me though. Like barring up
Oh, yeah.
Merrick's
Oh,
shop.
yeah.
Like
It's
I
a
was
good
like,
thing that he's leaving though.
fuck. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
immediate relief.
Yeah.
Relief. But
Merrick's
I was
got his
like
ear to the
fucking
ground.
terrified. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, a quick
Yeah.
tea here. Tea break.
T.O.
T.O. break. Maggie, I love your earrings. They're
Oh, thank
swords.
you. My friend got them for
They're
me.
awesome.
I was looking
Rachel.
at them
Very-
at the recording.
They're
like,
very,
that's it.
Rachel
very
Hodgson got
D&T,
them
and
for
I
me.
love
Yeah.
them. Amazing.
Is one an indoor earring and one an outdoor earring?
Yeah. Indoor, outdoor.
Very nice. But yeah, I think coming into the city, one of Dillon's biggest frustrations was the fact that like you know
you didn't get to talk to every single person.
no
Because that's a Dillon
the
thing.
shovel thing was hilarious. We'll get back to
That-
that.
oh my
But-
God.
Shovel was good.
Did I plan
but
that?
just the-
Fuck no.
but just the fact that Meldar hasn't told his people that there is a massive war coming.
I'm not surprised.
And I know,
Me
but I
neither.
think coming from like Dillon coming from a small town called Grainbellow
Where everybody
everyone
knows everything.
every single thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's like how can you not tell your people that there is danger coming?
And
you know,
Minx and Clue are both like, of course you can't tell everybody that
'Cause of
something's
chaos,
happening. Yeah,
right?
it would be awful.
Yeah.
I know. So Dillon is, I think that's one of the turmoils that Dillon's sort of dealing with too, being
Yeah.
like, wow, like when things get really big, government kind of sucks.
Yeah, like you really want to treat like the big city as like a small city dynamic,
of
and
course.
it's just it's
Well,
not
it's what
happening.
you know.
Yeah.
It's like hospitality and love.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because with the amount of people that we saw coming into the city and like kind of like veining out, like there must be some stories like from people that are in these smaller towns like a Tillville
Yeah.
coming and being like, they were fucking relic hunters and now they're like
Yeah.
kind of like fucking off to the capital at least. But like the idea that it's like still very whisper not happening
It
is also
still
very fun.
much like the remains of like what the Cold War was.
Yeah.
Like this has been this has been going on for like years, as you heard from Cadmus, where like everything's kept under wraps. There's all whispers, but like eventually this Cold War is gonna brew to the surface and become just an all-out skirmish, right? And it's getting closer and closer every day.
Yeah, like I think, and I think that ultimately, like, if you even if you like do hear whispers and stuff like that in general, it's like, you know, uprooting your whole family from a city that is like technically like considered very safe, right? Like, so that's like, but it's really cool that Merrick was able to get out. I think that was a fun note. I hope he's doing well.
I do too. He was also my source for potentially like getting other element orbs, and so that's a little freaky for Minx, because like literally had it like out of sight, out of mind a little bit, but now a little bit more freaked out.
I'm not sure if this is Clue conflicted or just Hartley conflicted, but just thinking about general safety across Hallow, you got people entering the city and an army approaching, but it's also the best, most well-defended, all the guards there city in the world, right?
Yeah.
And even if it's a siege, like this is all the production comes to this city. Like there's a lot of mouths to feed. I just don't know what's safer. The places with zero law enforcement, but there's no army at the door, or the place with all of the resources, all of the guards,
But the
everything,
largest target, right?
But the largest target, and there's a siege about to happen.
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether people leaving is better, or people coming to the cities better. Like I have no idea.
Well, I feel like if anything, like with towns being more and more undefended, right? It's like I could really see more like not necessarily like the looting, but like like smaller like thieves or like, you know, small barbarian groups like, you know, fucking over towns, and just like more like I don't know.
And it's tough. It like especially from the perspective of like a king, where it's like, do we want all the towns protected, or is it more of a massive calamity if the capital city falls because it wasn't well enough guarded for this impending force? Right.
But yeah, for example, like we had Tillville and they had what, 3 relic hunters come through
and
basically
fuck it up.
could have like ended the town or like owned that town with no protection. So like that's it's just a show of power.
No one would step up, right?
To be fair, I don't think relic hunters are like super common. It's not like like bandit groups, stuff like
groups, exactly.
Still,
anything,
easily, right? Yeah,
anybody with a sword against like small towns like those, 100%.
Small warlords just like taking over towns and stuff while this is happening could be a thing,
ruining Chris's future plot.
Big game of risk.
You also uncovered the identity of the woman in the pond as well.
Yes, we did. Avandra.
Who's peaceful.
A peace god.
She's
Thank
a nice
God.
lady. She just wiped her memory.
Domain of travel.
We just got
and
Men in Black.
Domain of travel and adventure.
Yeah. And it's I like how familiar it is. Like this is just something that's been around the corner from where I live like my whole life,
Well,
and it is just like so ingrained.
Well, I think when you first came across it in that episode, like when you saw the woman in the pool, I think with your perception, I did describe like she looks somewhat familiar, and it's almost like you recognize her from your time in the capital, and that is why you pass by the statue all the time.
From your time in the wow.
And that's why I was like, when the fuck would have seen somebody? And so it's it's good. No, it's good.
Throwback. Just like with the world biting back in Merrick's letter.
Oh,
yeah, very good.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm both so sad and so like I'm so sad that I didn't get to see him because I was like I wanted to tell him about the spell shooting gun. I wanted to tell him about Meridium and be like, oh, but
and I do feel slightly
we
bad.
have it.
Yeah,
right.
No, and that's also entering the city and being like, no, we don't have anything. But like it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I have all these stories to tell you because like he is like kind of like replacement parent excitement for like being an adult that's excited about magic
get
stuff.
this like magical excitement from your parents at all. So you like vent to Merrick.
Yeah.
And I do feel slightly bad about not having Merrick being physically there
It
because
makes sense,
all you've
though.
interacted with him is in a flashback,
Yeah.
right? So, but again, if Merrick senses danger, it
Yeah.
would make the most sense for him as a character
much
to
sense.
just stay low,
Yeah.
right?
We're going to get some Merrick later.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like I'm so happy with that choice though. Also on your part, Chris, where it's like, no, why would he be here?
Yeah.
Like if anybody would know, I would trust him to know. Like
Yeah, of
especially
course.
coming here after the Orc Rebellion.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah, with that little tidbit that we got
Yeah.
from, I forgot what episode that was, where we got your
the flashback.
the
Yeah.
flashback episode
Yeah.
for you specifically. Yeah, it makes sense. It seems like a very Merrick move to get out of Dodge.
Yeah. Can we talk about Minx's speakeasy?
Yes, I had some things for that as
The
well. that
Amber
I'd like to-
Lantern. Yeah.
Yeah, we found out some interesting information.
Yeah.
Strange folk are around. Wink. Oh, actually, there's one thing I wanted to ask Chris. Chris, can you have Wink say his own name in his accent?
Wink.
Would he say it like that? He has a lisp.
But
Is
there's,
there an-
there's
an
no
S
S
in Wink?
There's no S in Wink.
I don't know. I just thought maybe he'd say like Wink.
My name is Wink.
My name is Wink. All right, see that satisfies my hunger.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Amber Lantern. It's really cool to
And a lot of that you did give me like
Yeah.
in your backstory. I
Yeah.
just had a little
Cool,
more,
cool.
in-depth detail about like how to get downstairs to
Yeah.
like the speakeasy.
Cool.
because like Dax knows this place too. Like
For
that's
sure.
the thing. Like these are the frequented like places that we would have come and like either
Yeah.
gotten jobs, would have met Wink, would have known these kind of people.
This is the old stomping
So
ground.
Whoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it feels good to be back.
So
but
it's-
also like I did not want to like I love you dearly, but I did not want to bring
No,
down
no.
Dillon
You made the right call.
in
Yeah.
to the underbelly.
I love that we had a layer of separation there where we could just like be just out of reach, you know?
yeah.
Yep.
You get to really see Minx's inner element a bit without like the influence of like
Yeah, I was happy to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like sit back and go like, Clue doesn't know anything. He's just going to lean against a bar.
But no, also I like the idea of being able to up bribes like that.
Investigation.
It is
That's
fun. Like I like it as an element of like
Sounds very
this world.
city.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a part of small town stuff like that.
Yes.
But
Metropolis,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
Yeah.
information network. Yeah.
You got to
Very
give a
fun.
little to get a little, right?
for sure.
And I really did like, and I kind of want to unpack a couple of things that Chris mentioned there through Wink, where you mentioned that there were strange folk in the city. Oh, also the kobolds are really interesting.
Yeah.
Seems to be an influx of kobolds coming to the city.
at least
Maybe.
under
So
there.
the dragonborns, right?
So yeah, kobolds are like dragon-like creatures, and I don't think I established them as coming to the city.
Just
'Cause
more of
they
them
were
in
just
the
more there.
speakeasy.
More of them are present because, like I mentioned, that they are underground kind of
Yeah.
people, so they may already be here. It's just you don't see them above ground very often.
Yeah.
The kobold race just got real cool all of a sudden. Kobolds are in right now.
I love kobolds. It was just less priority to Minx.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
No,
yeah,
100%.
that's it.
No, that was cool. But it also, yeah, so going back to what Wink said, so there was strange folk, more elves, which is really cool, and then more elves sort of like seeming to be gathering climbing gear.
Yeah,
and
elves
like,
ready to make it their own trek. So
Because if we find a crew that we can just go up with, right? It's like,
that's the hope.
yeah, that's because, like, you know, I feel like if anything can Dillon, they probably maybe know my general sort of vicinity of where my mom does things
I'm
because
so
she is Silent Star, right? So
Yeah. It's so
Right.
interesting because I also picture Dillon as being like any elf anywhere
that's what it is.
could know his mom.
Yes, I must exhaust all possibles.
The only elf you've ever met was a drunk. Like,
Yeah.
It's
So
like
now-
did know your mom?
Who literally took my mom
Yeah.
to the Fae.
Yeah.
Then died.
So I'm sorry, but Chris has paved a road of expectation.
that is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
picture it every time as like the idea of like when somebody's like, "Oh, you're from Canada," and you're from like small town Ontario, and then they're like, "Do you know this person that lives out in Kelowna, BC?" And
Yeah,
it's
like,
like that is the
no.
way I picture it every time
Yeah.
you ask an elf, and
Yes.
it's just like, and I love it.
And that's gonna be Dylan's mentality because the first time he did it, it worked.
It worked.
It worked. Yes. Yeah. That's. I mean, until that is squashed enough
Yeah.
for Dillon to be like, well, I should probably just stop asking.
I mean, it kind of did get squashed a
Layla.
little bit with Layla.
I mean, here's the thing. In 2 days, I'm there. Apparently, we'll see. if all goes according to plan,
Yeah.
I step foot into the Fae 2 days from now. So,
Yeah.
so there won't be any more need to be asking me.
Question.
It's like going on vacation, but you haven't booked a plane ticket yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you want to leave, but like, am
Yeah.
I going to get there?
Yeah.
Question for you, Chris. Hallows Day is the day that the planes align, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So-
And the stars align.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, because the planes are,
Are the
stars.
stars.
Oh, the
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
Cool. It's pretty sick.
Because I'm curious. The door to the on top of Mount Moradin, is it the door to the Feywild, or is it a door to all of the planes? Like because they're all connected.
It's like a spin the wheel situation.
Well, this is kind of what I'm wondering. Like,
the door to the
are there-
nine hells.
Yeah, are there
picturing
people
this year.
Are there people
You know,
going
God
to
of War.
other planes, or is it like obviously the Feywild is the primary? Like
Hell
all
yeah.
elves are probably
Just like God of
going
War.
home.
I think with all the information that you've gotten so far, I wouldn't have you interpret like there's going to be other like portals of planes. I think it's just primarily
It's the Feywild.
It's the Feywild. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe there's other doors
Because I was
across
just curious
the land
about Hallows
that
Day and like
open.
the whole idea of the stars aligning over Mount Moradin. Like, do the stars align over other points of interest and
At
those
other
go
times?
to other planes?
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's
I'm
possible.
curious.
And because I think like all the information that you've been getting about like where this portal is you've been getting it from elves and like people like from the Fae. So like perhaps they know when their portal opens,
but not
but
necessarily.
not necessarily like when other portals open.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So there
Cool.
could be once a year, every portal to every realm opens, but
But
somewhere at
different
different
places.
times at different places.
Kind of cool.
Very interesting. So there are elves that are traveling back to the Fae, I guess, right?
So what you
Seems
heard
like
from-
there's some elves in.
What you heard from Minx in her investigation were like there have been more elves that have come into the city.
They're going home.
Potentially trying to find winter gear.
Oh yeah.
Who knows how long ago that was? Because
Yeah.
Minx didn't say he saw them the other day, but
Yeah.
like he has noticed like there are elves here.
Little influence.
So cool.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily just like
I
people
guess,
of
yeah.
significance trying to get back to the Fae. It's also like
Just
people
some
who are
folks,
coming, who
yeah.
are trying to get back home.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. That's really cool. Like the pilgrimage to the top of the mountain to go back home I don't
Yeah.
know. There's something really cool about that.
And I think
really
it's
like that.
interesting too because like not everyone knows how to get back to the Fae, so it is like kind of kept under wraps where it's like a hidden secret that like everyone who's a local would kind of know how to find that information.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you really have to go digging deep to try and find like the important stuff
Yeah.
that will lead you to the portal.
Very cool. Nice that we got to see sort of Dax's home area too in the slums.
You passed by it
Yeah.
very briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he did walk out in the middle
I'm
of the
assuming
night.
that's where he went, but
Probably back home.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
But- yeah, because he stayed with like he was around and like we mainly hung out around 6, like
Yes.
in the time that I like at least what I know of him.
Yeah. I don't think you hung out in, well, without giving too much away, I don't
Yeah.
think you hung out too much in 7. It was mainly in 6 quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Seems like the friendlier place.
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't get bombarded with like shifty salesmen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
People in trench coats walking up
Shovel
to
guy
you.
was great. I was sad he didn't have anything new for me. He was kind of behind me in the shovel trend. So
Well, I don't think magical shovels are super.
no, I just thought maybe there was like a Nimbus 2000 shovel version.
I see, I see.
Something new on the
If there
block.
is, I don't think they'd be selling it on the street corner.
No, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was kind of fun for Dillon to be like, I'm the better shovel guy. Out of all the shovel guys I've met,
Also,
I'm arguably the
Actually,
better shovel
to be
guy.
fair, that was the second elf you've met. So you met a drunk. Then
shovels.
you met a guy who screams shovels, and then you met an elf who ignored you.
yeah,
the
it's been
bartender.
good. It's been a good string of elvish encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the big city is very different.
Yeah,
Yeah. Not everyone's going to be friendly to you.
no,
Yeah.
and that's Dillon is slowly learning that. Very very cool.
Yeah. But now you guys have 2 more days.
2 more days.
2 more days.
2 more days.
A
The
lot to
clock
do.
is ticking. Very exciting. We have to get up there soon. Madam Pouch is on the list.
Pouch.
And then we got to get our own travel pouch full of gear and we got to start hiking.
Yeah, not like we even have the money for it. I
I
think
think it makes sense to pouch and then just start fucking going up the hill.
I gotta come back.
Right.
Yep.
You have a nightly meeting, an evening
Yeah.
meeting. Yes.
Especially if
the
I'm
night
excited to
is
talk
it-
to her, but
Yeah. Wait, the night to talk to who?
The guy that Winks
Wink.
hooking us up. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, who's a person going up the mountain?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, question.
Yes.
If Pouch can organize travel up the mountain for us, would we not just go like, hey,
I mean, we'll see.
get us up the mountain?
We'll see.
By
What if she has
tomorrow.
some crazy thing for you to do for her?
That's the
I
thing.
kind of hope so.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, I'm curious at what it is and how long it will take, and if it
Yeah.
So curious. Just very curious.
I guess the biggest thing is like we really don't have a sense of how long it takes to scale the mountain.
No.
I mean,
No.
the way I described it, like in
Probably
the
a
last
day.
couple episodes, like it is a mountain that its peak is above the clouds.
It probably already takes longer. I think we need a magical way of getting up. Otherwise, we're not getting up in the first place.
You think so?
I've
We need to figure
two
it out.
days.
That was on my list of things to try
I
to figure out
climbed
today.
Mount
and
Fuji,
we
and it
didn't.
took. Actually, no, I climbed Mount Fuji. It's above the mountain. It's above the clouds, and it took me 6 hours. 5
We're in a
hours.
fantasy world.
The clouds might be very low.
That's true.
They might be 20 feet above us. The clouds.
Is Mount Moradin a Mount Fuji?
Like a Jack
or
and
is
the
it way
Beanstalk mountain.
bigger?
It just keeps going.
It is quite a tall mountain. It's very tall. I'll say that.
Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't figure out. I had on my list of things to ask was how long does it take to get to the top of the mountain?
Yeah. I was hoping at least there would be like myth around it with like anything, but I was like, I don't know, this dude in the bar, like this is it's not
I mean, at the same time, it's not something that happens quite like it's not like there's a bunch of tourists that
not
go up there every
common
single
lore.
day.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people wouldn't even know that, and
exactly.
who knows, right?
Yeah.
But I assume Madame Pouch knows, and so she probably has ears to the ground and ways to.
My assumption is also there's a little bit more of like a not tight, like not security per se, but like there is stuff to be mined from the mountain that is specifically high value.
Yeah.
Meridian being one of them, but like other things as well. But like it's like I would assume that they're like, we don't want a lot of people coming in here.
Well, like, I mean,
So-
technically, like, your parents might have access into the mountain to some sort of way of, like, getting us through caverns and stuff to get up to some certain degree of height there, right? There's so many different ways to potentially go about it. I love how you're, like, sour. You're like, no, I don't want to talk to them. No, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like, there could be an inner way into the mountain that might lead us to the top faster.
Yeah,
There could be a magical
You're correct.
elevator.
Shit, back.
Magical
back.
elevator.
delete. How are you seeing my notes from there?
I think the last thing I wanted to just mention
Yeah.
was I really liked how Hartley, you've been looking out for Tyler this whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler from the.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I miss his jokes too.
Yes. I'm very
really
excited for the
putting-
reunion of you and Tyler.
I'm really putting it up on a pedestal
I was gonna
because
say.
Clue is not a funny guy.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't
It's
know
just
if
gonna
I'm
be
going to
really
laugh.
bad jokes.
It's just gonna be like the driest like English humor in some way,
it'd
or
be
like something.
yeah, like Tyler, he's not actually even funny.
no.
He just mentions really I think I kind of picture Clue as like a person who partakes in Schadenfreude. Like, so like maybe Tyler isn't funny at all, and he's just a guy who mentions really grotesque, awful things happening to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And
It's
Clue
like,
just goes, "Oh, that's a good one, Tyler. That's a good one.
He's the funniest man I know.
You're so funny."
Sweet. Awesome. Well, shall we wrap it up?
I think we shall. Thank you so much for listening to Last Call for episode 18. Joined once again by Chris,
1-8.
Mike, Hartley, and Maggie. We'll see you on the next Last Call or on the latest episode of Trouble at the Tavern. Take it away with the slow jazz.
Slow jazz.